Hey guys, Equinox here, and this is going to be the Brackenhide Season 4 guide. This was in last season, but a little bit of a refresher. So I'm going to go over all the important mobs, pretty much skip over anything that's not really too important that you guys don't need to worry about. And yeah, let's get right into it. It's going to be sped up again, same as the last one. So yeah, let's get right into it. So first mob that you see there is the Hunter. The Hunter has two abilities that are really important. Toxic Trap, which is a trap on the ground that does a crap ton of damage, and then Bone Bolt. Bone Bolt you can CC and it will not recast. If it does go off, you get a bleed and a bit of an initial damage. So I'm going to pause right here. The other really important mob in this is the War Scourge. So the War Scourge, one, has an aura around him that gives a 25% damage buff and CDR, and then he has a Fear. So this Fear actually has a kind of an interesting mechanic. If you have more than one War Scourge in the group, they are hard force desynced to where one person can kick both as long as it's melee kick cooldown. So say you pull 3 War Scourges, one person can kick all 3 of them. That's just how they work. So don't be afraid. As long as you can live the War Scourges, pull as many as you want. You can. The kick requirement does not increase. One person can handle all of them. The only other mechanic that you have to worry about here is the Claw Fighter. So the Claw Fighter does something called Vicious Claw Mangle. So this is a cast into a channel. So once this channel starts, you cannot CC it with knockbacks or anything but like disorient, stuns, any hard CC. But during the initial cast, knockbacks do work as a stop, and once you CC it in any form, once the cast cancels, it goes on full cooldown. So they also remove Bloody Bite from them, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, that's all the important mechanics over here. And make sure you get these cages. Priest Mindsuit is really, really good for these cages. The only other mob in this area that we didn't really go over is the Decay Speaker. So the Decay Speaker has a Withering Scourge cast, I think is what it's called, or Decay Surge, something like that, and it just puts a massive amount of damage on the target. That's the one important kick. Every other bolt will go to the tank. So the Mystics don't hard target the tank. They can target the tank, but they usually target other party members. The Decay Speaker strictly targets the tank, except with everything but the big spell. That always targets party members, so you make sure you get that kicked. And then here's another War Scourge pack. And remember, you always want to stop the Vicious Claw Mangles, so there's sweep, and it doesn't recast. And that's it. That's literally the entire first area, nothing special. Just pull at a pace that feels good for you, make sure you get all 5 cages, and that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward us to the boss. And so this boss usually gives people quite a bit of trouble. Also, a little bit of routing advice for this key. I would leave this area, at least in a pug group, around like 35-40%. I think that's a healthy percent to go into the second area. That way you don't have to overpull too much. You have less scary mobs. Like even though the second area is like kind of easy, with the changes that I'll go over, they do get kind of scary. There is a lot more potential to die, especially in the first couple weeks while people get used to the changes. People coming back probably will not be used to the changes, and you'll see what they are when we go over there. Alright, so this first boss, super simple. You just have a kick rotation on the Trick Totem mob. You want to hard focus down the Trick Totem mob. This just makes everything easier. I'm going to go ahead and pause, just go over the abilities, and then I'll play it for you guys. So Trick Totem has he has the Bolt Cast. You just have a kick rotation constantly throughout the entire fight. Then he has a heal, Greater Healing Rabbits. If you have a Purge, let this go through. As long as the Purge is quick, he won't really heal any. And then he has his special. So whenever they do the special, they all 3 do their specials. So Trick Totem has a Hex Trick Totem, which polymorphs the healer. You just have to kill the totem, and that's it. And let's go over Gash Tooth next. So this guy's the hardest one, technically. But as long as you plan your CDs out, you can easily live. He has Gash Frenzy, which is his big target each person. He shadow steps each person, does a big initial damage, and then puts a bleed. This one's pretty easy to deal with as long as you pop a defensive. No big deal. Not hard at all to deal with. Just make sure you have a defensive rotation or a healing rotation, or dwarf it off, cauterize it off, stuff like that. And then he has Mark for Butchery. So Mark for Butchery, if you're a rogue, hunter, anyone with Shadow Meld, Mage Invis, stuff like that, When Mark for Butchery goes on you, you wait till he jumps to you, boom, and Viz, it's gone. Cancels the whole ability. That's it. If it is on you and you don't have a way to get it off, make sure you walk into melee so the boss can get cleaved down and you're not just like running away from it. You cannot run away from it. He just shadow steps to you constantly. They did nerf his frequency of attacks by 50% during this channel, so it has been nerfed quite a bit. And then the last one, Reaver Hackclaw, he has his special. Oh, I forgot to go over the special of Gashu. So Gashu's special is he does a blind on the tank that can be dispelled by Imp Dispel, Mass Dispel, and normal Dispel. But the healer is polyed, so if you have Imp Dispel, Mass Dispel, you can get the tank out while the healer is polymorphed. If not, then just kill the totem, healer breaks out, healer dispels. And then there's Rear Hackclaw. He has a cleave, so all of his auto attacks just cleave. Then he has Blade Storm, which just targets a random person and fixates them and chases them for the Blade Storm. Just don't stand in it, that's it. If you're ranged, you should kite it not too far away from melee, but obviously don't drag it over the melee. And then he has a special, which is Savage Charge, which is a 14-second cast, and it charges and the tank just has to soak it. So it's literally just a pass-fail of kill totem, tank gets dispelled, tank soaks charge. That's it. I'll continue playing the video, and you'll see the whole fight. In a low enough key, you can Touch of Death the totem from full HP. So if you're doing like a next season, I'd say probably like a 13 or a 3 or a 4, which is equivalent of 13, 14, then you could probably Fort Brew Touch of Death it from full. And you see I get dispelled here, and then I soak the charge. Easy peasy. So, I'm going to talk about the next area. So the next area, they did a couple big changes. The Shaper mobs, the Brackenhide Shapers, they no longer do Touch of Decay. This is a massive buff for Brewmaster specifically, because those mobs destroyed us in Season 2. Huge change, absolutely nice. They still do Infuse Corruption, which is a cast that you want to stop. So make sure you stop that. It still does quite a bit of damage. The Oaks also got a big change. The Necrotic Breath is no longer kickable. That is a massive change and has killed a lot of people in my PTR keys because people aren't used to it. It was kickable all of Season 2, so you're gonna have to get used to that. Make sure that you're kind of I would honestly kind of like semi-stack if you're the DPS and just move left as soon as it starts casting, or move right as soon as it starts casting. Makes it so much easier. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that really changed. Everything else is pretty simple. Oh, the Rotsingers, they were bugged on PTR. So if you did the Rotsinger pull, they did a summon totem. If that totem went off, that cast would kill you. Just straight up kill you. It'd tick for like 500, 600k. Absolutely insane. Now it no longer stacks, and pretty sure they fixed the bug. So just play around the call. If you play Rotsingers, just make sure you have a Cauldron, get Alchemy, activate the Cauldron, pull the Rotsinger, totem goes off, everyone uses the button, boom, there you go, easy peasy. I will have the route linked down below. I have all the Season 4 routes up in my guide, and I'll have them linked down below as well. But yeah, pretty much this entire area is just pulling whatever you can live, as big as you can, but pull as much as you can live, don't over pull. This area has very low HP mobs, you can always chain the oak into other stuff, so don't feel pressured to just like over pull. As you can see, the breath kills people, like I said. It just murks people. Because like I said, no one's used to it. So be patient in your groups, make sure you explain before the key starts that you cannot kick the breath, watch out for it, maybe put a marker on somebody if you guys are in an organized group, be like, okay, stack on me for the breath goes out, move through the oak, or move to the left or right, simple. One suggestion I do have for Blizzard though is to increase the animation on this. It's very, very faint. It's not a good enough animation. One important mob in this area, the Monstrous Decay, if you do pull him, he does an ability called Gushing Ooze. This is radius based, by the way. If nobody else is in melee but the tank, it will just target the tank. So ranged will never get targeted by this unless they're in melee. Melee will get targeted by this, so if this ability is on cooldown, or off cooldown, walk out of melee, it'll go on the tank, walk back in. You can dodge this, or roll out of it. I don't know exactly what causes it, but I'm pretty sure you can dodge this, because sometimes this cast will go off and it just won't hit me. So I'm pretty sure it's dodgeable. Like, not like ground dodgeable, but like natural dodge, like evasion stuff. So I'm not sure what's up with that. Outside of that, this area is super straightforward. Summons Lashers, kick Infuse Corruption, dodge the breath, watch out for the Gushing Ooze. That's about it. Not really too much to this area. Very, very simple. Low HP, everything dies pretty fast. Super straightforward after they removed all the casts. So let's fast forward to Treemouth. So Treemouth's kind of an interesting boss. I'm going to pause this really quick. So Treemouth has just a couple abilities. It has Decay Spray, which it puts targets one player, spits, spawns a bunch of ads, you CC them. CC does stop their cast and they will not recast. So any form of CC, they'll always be synced up pretty much unless they got like silence or something separately. And you just CC them, kill them, and then they'll drop a puddle, move out of it. He'll do Consume. So Consume, he just channels. You'll have this big animation. If nobody's in it, he will get enraged and do 100% increased, 150% increased damage, and at 20% haste, more attack speed, abilities go out faster, etc. So you usually want to have someone consume this. You can immune this after you get eaten, so you can like bubble, block, cloak. I don't remember if it works, but I'm pretty sure it works. You can also Wurnstone. So if you have an AUG, you can Wurnstone out of it. Don't think they fixed it. They might have fixed it. If they did fix it, correct me in the comments below. That'd be really helpful. But yeah. And then he does Vine Whip, and that's just the frontal of the tank that's on the tank that follows you wherever you go. And that's it. That's the whole fight. So have either an immune rotation or the tank eats it. You can eat 2 in a row pretty comfortably, 3 in lower keys. And as Brew, I would honestly just get a mastery tracker. I have that in my Brew UI. I'll have that weak order link down below as well. Make sure with the mastery tracker, you just don't eat the consume. Make sure you tell your team you're not going to eat the consume. And just have a CD for Vine Whip. And then same as Soul Goliath, just play around your mastery for the autos. So watch your dodge percent with the mastery tracker. And whenever it's 100%, safe blackout kick, you dodge the auto. Then you blackout kick, you dodge the next one. And then you have Celestial Brew and stuff for the Vine Whip. As you can see, really not hard. He doesn't do that much damage. Yeah, that's how I prefer to do it. So I'm going to talk about Stink Breath. So they did change Stink Breath a little bit. The Whirlwind, you can always hit during, even as a class with no long arms. So they reduced the range of that. Then he has his Breath. It has an animation now, and it doesn't follow people. I think it's the other change. And yeah, he's just a little bit easier. Still not worth doing. You still want to skip him if you can. Just takes too long. Percent's not worth it. And that's about it. Let's go to the next fight. So this is the same. This bear doesn't really do anything. The birds do a screech cast. Make sure you kick it. That's it. They do not recast on CC. So if you have a CC, you just sweep, para. They don't recast. And then this fight, super easy. All you have to do is put the hyenas into the trap, and then they will die. Make sure you kick the Master's Call cast. The Master Tracker is also really good for Gutshot on this fight, because the Gutshot is dodgeable just by natural means. That's it. That's the whole fight. You don't really do anything. You ideally want to stack the traps so the hyenas get hit double, so they take double the damage. And you just drag them over the trap, kick Master's Call, kill them. If you see the leap cast and they're not rooted, CC them. But if they're rooted, the cast will go off. They also do this bleed on the tank. If you do get hit, it hurts because it's not like... Yeah, you can't freedom it. You can't... The only thing that removes it is like Caw or Stone Form. But yeah, it hurts a lot. Does a crap ton of damage. You ideally don't want to get hit by it, but if you do, what can you do? Just offensive and you'll be fine. And the next area has two really important mobs. The third one's not really important, but it kind of is important. So it has the Filth Caller and the Rot Hexer. The Filth Caller does 2 abilities: Decay Surge, just a tank bolt. That's it. That's all it does. And then Rotting Surge, which is a channel that puts a bunch of puddles on the ground. This channel can be CC'd and it will not recast. So whenever you see it, just CC it. So here it is. I drop it, doesn't recast. Easy peasy. Then there's the Rot Hexers, and they do 2 abilities. They do Withering Contagion, and then that puts a disease dot on the person, and then they do I think it's called Decay Surge, or Siphon Decay. That's what it's called, Siphon Decay, and they suck it, and it does huge damage. It will one shot you on a higher 4 key. It just kills you straight up. You can defensive it and live, but ideally you just don't want it to go off. And the Witherlings do Bloody Bite, so they remove Bloody Bite from every mob but the Witherlings, and they still hurt. They will just straight up kill you. So yeah, very, very scary. And then same thing here, just really unimportant mobs. They don't really do anything. Just Disease Dispel, that's it. There's the Siphon, boom, doesn't do anything. Alright, so this next boss is probably the hardest boss. So all he does is a couple abilities. He does Decay Strike, which is a tank buster that puts a big healing absorb on you. You just save your orbs for it, expel harm it off. I'm going to pause it really quick, and then I'll play the whole fight for you. So he's going to do Decay Strike, and that's just, like I said, the healing orbs. And he's going to do Choking Rock Cloud, and he's going to be a frontal on the tank. You want to start it in a corner against a wall, and then it'll just go around. And then I'll explain how to do the totems when the fight starts. So he's going to do that. And so you're going to drag it to the past the halfway point, right? So you see how I'm past the halfway point in the room? And he's going to put the totem where we were. So that way we can just run back here. We Grief Torch it, boom. And then we keep him here. And then we move past the halfway point again. And it's going to put the totem back where we were. See, like that? And you just do that every single time. It's always the farthest point from where he is, pretty much. So, like, if you keep him in this corner, it'll go to the opposite corner. Stuff like that. So you see I keep him here, it's going to put it right there where the rock cloud is. Not the best placement, but yeah, I'm just showing you the example. And then every 2 totems, I believe, he does the Siphon. Same thing as the mob. And for every Siphon, or every person who has a Withering Rot dot, he will gain an additional stack of Decaying Strength, which is just 5% increased damage, which means the tank gets pummeled more, and which means you'll get hit harder. And yeah, you just don't want these totems to go off. Save cooldowns for it. Rotate like Touch of Death, Grief Torch if you have it. And pretty much that is the whole fight. Really pretty simple fight, but it is a hard DPS check. And make sure you defensive these suck. But yeah, that's the whole fight. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. I hope you learned something. I'll have this weak wars stuff linked down below. And yeah, have a good one. Peace out. See you in the next guide.